If you haven't done so already, save your work just by hitting Command S, and when you do, you're going to notice, hey, nothing happened. I didn't get a dialog box. You only get that box the first time you save. And after that, Command S, all it does is remove that little asterisk there. Now, this is a checker or chessboard or whatever you want to call it, but what it also is a pattern. And patterns have one thing in common. There is a repeating element that is predictable. Okay? So the default patterns are always made on a white background. So in order to do this, we need to unlock that background, go ahead, select the background, turn that background white, and then lock that layer, click on the art layer on the meatball and turn that black. And then again, if we're bothered that this is a white square, we can just come down here and once again rotate while holding shift. Everything snaps into place and boom, there we go. Now, to make that pattern, I'm going to go ahead and hide that art layer and then create a new layer and name it something like pattern elements. Okay, and I may have spelled that wrong. I don't know. I can't type and talk at the same time. Notice that I've got black fill, no stroke. I'm going to come out, get the rectangle tool, click one time. 100 pixels by 100 pixels, click OK. Then get the black arrow. Now I'm not going to put this up in this corner. I just want to make a white square next to it, because that's what that checkerboard is. It's a black and white square that gets repeated. And so I can hit return, and this time I just want to move it horizontally 100 pixels because I want it right next door and 0 vertical, and click copy once again. But this time with this selected, I want this to be white. So I'm going to come up to the swatches, turn that white, and then select both of these elements so they are both selected right now. And then go to Object, Pattern, Make. And someone said, hey, Scotchko, I don't have some of your shortcuts. Well, these are custom shortcuts that I have made. We'll talk about these, we'll get to them, and we'll make them, for you too. And it's always good if we're using the same shortcuts because you're going to see these things again and again and again. All right, so here we are in the new pattern dialog box. What kind of tile type? We don't want it to be a grid. We want it to stagger back and forth, brick by row. Click OK. And I have no idea why we're seeing nothing whatsoever here. And I'm just going to click Done. And we don't have that new pattern. So what went wrong? What did we do? Let's select both of those things and let's see. Did I make a mistake? I have both of these selected. Come up to Object, Pattern, Make. I think I may not have had something selected because this always works. So some of you caught me. I'm going to let that stand because we always make mistakes. We do things wrong. And I'm going to just call this something very clever like checkerboard. And we don't want this grid because we don't want stripes. That's not what we're looking for. We want brick by row. And you can see that we've got this checkerboard. And I don't know what you have here on the copies. Do you have 3 by 3? Is this the default? I don't know. But there's a lot we can do here in this dialog box. But for right now, all we want to do is click Done. And then you notice here in the swatches panel, Window Swatches, we have this. If we hover over it, it says checkerboard, and then we have this new pattern. I'm just going to click and drag that to the trash because that was my failed attempt to do that. And then I'm going to hide this upper layer, unlock the background, select it, and you don't have to always select with the meatball. I'm just getting you used to a different way to select things when you want to select everything on that layer. And with this background element selected, click on this checkerboard little swatch here, which is our pattern which fills that checkerboard with the black and white square. Now you may be looking at this going, Scotchko, look at this, it doesn't fit right. Now there's a whole bunch of different ways we can fix this, but I want you to get rid of or get used to one. Going to go ahead with that selected. I have the background selected, this large rectangle, and I'm going to hit return to get the move dialog box. But I don't want to move the large rectangle. See where it says transform objects and transform patterns? I don't want to transform the rectangle, so I deselect that. And remember, preview has to be checked. And then I want to move this. And it looks as if this is chopped in half. And it is. So I want to move it horizontally. You know, I don't want to move it horizontally at all. So we can click 0 there. And tab and vertical 50. Tab. And some of you might be saying, Scotchko, you don't have that black square up there. Okay. Then we can type in 100 up here and hit tab. And now we got that black square right there. Do you see how easy that was to create that pattern and then move the pattern with the move tool? Now you got to be ready when you use the move tool in the future to be able to, when I hit return, to be able to say, hey, what do we have selected here? Because the options are going to play a huge part whether we're moving objects or panels. Our patterns, excuse me. And that is your first introduction to patterns. I got to tell you, patterns are incredible because you saw how two little squares became a checkerboard. Cool, huh?